Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna look again at the trailer of Light No Fire, but we will be taking some time to look at all the details I spotted or I missed before. Now this is gonna be a pretty lengthy video, so I don't want to do too much of an introduction. Let's just jump straight into it and start this trailer. So the first thing I noticed when I was watching this trailer is the 4 characters standing on top of the mountain. And this is going to be a recurring theme. You will see that there's always a group of 4 people journeying together. Because I assume this might actually be the same as No Man's Sky, where you only can have a fire team of 4 people in one group. Now, while we also here look at the scene itself, this, according to the trailer, is all recorded during multiplayer in-game. So if that is all, to be believed, then we can see that there is actually a lot of viewing distance on this world. You can see the mountains in the distance, you can actually see the birds down there, you can see the boats sailing on the water, and we also have that little building there, a tower building on the cliff. So it's definitely a lot of viewing distance. So this is an amazing thing to see, which if you compare it with, for example, No Man's Sky does not have that viewing distance at all. And this is also why I'm starting to believe more and more this is going to be a purely next-gen game for sure. Alright, let's move on to the next scene. Alright, the next scene, we of course see the character riding a mount, which is not very new. We know in No Man's Sky it was possible as well, but it definitely seems like this is going to be one of our means of travel for sure. I mean, we've seen, if you watch the trailer further, we will see more of that. The tower, I'm not entirely sure. This might be an indicator, maybe like a knowledge stone, like we see in No Man's Sky, or maybe just a marker. I do like the grass, and if you look at the animation of the grass, you also see there's a lot of movement in there. The next scene, we also see the skeletons. I know a lot of people are very charmed by the little skeletons. We are not entirely sure if this is going to be a player character choice, if you can choose to be like that. I don't think this is a character. I am assuming this is actually an enemy we will come across. And these little small skeletons are not baby skeletons. I'm assuming they are like gnomes or goblins or whatever. They seem to have a bone as a weapon, I'm assuming. While the large skeleton seems to have like a club style or an axe. It looks like an axe, yeah. So I noticed as well the blue glow that's coming from these characters as well. We should compare this if we can see if this is like a indicator. These are bad guys or good guys. I have to check that. And here, when I saw this building, I actually was thinking about the anomaly. It was like, this looks like a crashed anomaly, but it's a stone structure. I know some people have been comparing it with the archives. And this is what's going to happen, especially with No Man's Sky players. They're going to be comparing it with the game they know. And of course, the assets and the game style and the graphic style is going to remind us about it. Again, we can look at the characters, because I see a bear there that looks like a deer and a ram, maybe I would say. There we go, underwater here. If you look at this water scene and you've been watching the trailers of No Man's Sky, then this scene reminded me so instantly about No Man's Sky. It has the same vibe, although there's way more assets, there's way more life in the water. You can recognize a little bit of the style. You almost would think this is No Man's Sky with the kelp saps there, except of course for the sunken boat and the massive octopus that is also showing there in the background. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm not sure if we can say like this is a fire team or this is just a kind of like a hub, a community where people are living together and they have like an instance. I am really not sure how they're going to work with multiplayer as well, that's for sure. Another thing I noticed, and I think this is the first time we are seeing this HUD, if we go back a little bit, you can see that the HUD itself shows the biome we're in. So for example, you can see there the little marker. We are in the water here. Then I'm assuming that is daylight. So the little marker with the sun, I'm assuming that is day. And there's like a little timer showing how long the day will be. Because there seems to be like a half moon meter. I think that might also adjust depending on where you are on the planet. Because if you're more to the equator or if you're more to the, the north to the south pole, your day should be shorter or longer. And on the right side, I also saw the marker with like a staff. You will see in the next scenes, you will see that there's actually going to be different weapons in there. So I'm assuming that is just showing you what tool or weapon you are handling for the moment. Now, this is of course just a teaser. I'm assuming we will see a lot of changes in the future. This is going to be probably also be beta tested. That means they're going to get a lot of feedback from players telling them that they don't really like the HUD or they don't like how this plays. So this will be most likely adjusted. As I said there, the octopus in the back, that's a massive octopus. In the next few scenes, we will actually see a boat that is sailing. And if you notice, then you just look at this ship here, you will see that the little marker on top here, there's like I would say like a sun or a fire. I'm not sure, it's like a fan on top. You will see the same fans on the other ships as well. So I'm kind of wondering what happened here. Was the ship broken by the octopus, and are these characters now just swimming away? That would be an interesting little detail to know. Alright, let's move on. Alright, we're coming out of the water, immediately confronted by the dragon flying over the screen here. Another thing I want to remark there, you can see on the top of the mountain, you see that little marker there is like a little tower. We will see that tower later in the trailer as well. By the way, did you notice that my staff changed when I was underwater? See that? Staff underwater changes when we are coming out of it. And also check the biome. So we see here the fish, sun. I would say this might be cold. You see the little marker there next to it? I think if you're going to come out of the water, it might change to warm. And it also changed to a different biome, which seems to be like a leaf. I'm assuming trees, or it might be a certain biome type. I don't know. All right, the next quick scene, and this is definitely very, very No Man's Sky-esque type of trailer. These flashing scenes. We can see the staff, holding the staff here. So this is most likely we'll see magic in this game. And you also will see that we have elemental fire damage and stuff like that as well. So magic will most likely be part of this game. Again, I've noticed a lot of what we see here. For example, the capes, the staffs, the mountains, the terrain. I think a lot of what you're seeing here has been tested in No Man's Sky. See how it works, see how people feel about it, and then implement it into the game that they want to be using. So the staff, for example, I think they have been playing around how this works, how does it handle, how is the character holding it, things like that, and then implement that into their new game as well. And then this floating cube, I'm not sure, it looks like a ruin or something we can go and discover. Then of course the kite has been used by a lot of other games as well, you know, Zelda, Fortnite. They look great. I do like the style of them. They also look different. I'm not sure if you noticed that this one is red, the other one is brown. So it seems that a lot of customization will be possible if we are to believe this trailer. I'm assuming I don't see anything because it doesn't show your stamina meter or anything. I'm assuming this might also drain stamina or maybe a certain time. We'll have to check that. And of course we have the shot with the blackbirds here. The design here, this is like a white grass place with a lot of weird flowers and plants. We have a bunny as a character and of course the main character walking here, which looks more humanoid as well. So there's going to be a lot of ways of traveling. As you can see, we have these birds, we have seen the dragons, we saw the mounts, we saw the kite. I do love the backpack styles and stuff as well. So there's a lot of different styles of backpacks. All right, here we are back at the scene we started. Let's move on to the building because that looks very interesting. So we have a character here chopping trees. I'm really wondering how this is going to work resource-wise. Is people are just going to completely deforest places? Or are we going to be able to build trees again ourselves, you know, plant trees and then chop them again to kind of create a tree farm or whatever? Also wonder how it's going to work like in multiplayer. If one community or one group or one person builds his house, kind of have like a nice little place with in the forest, and somebody comes and chops the trees. Are they going to disappear for also that player? Or are trees, for example, going to be blocked from chopping when they are in a certain area? I'm not entirely sure there. Also like the fact that this character is actually carrying the wood towards the location they are building. I'm not entirely sure if this is just a animation to give it a little bit of a nice vibe to the game, or if this actually is going to happen in game where we chop a tree, we take the piece of wood and we carry it to our base. Definitely not opposed to it. I like the little slow-paced start of a game and having to carry your stuff, and then later maybe you build a bigger or a better transport. Again, the character there looks like a bear if I'm correct. Then there is somebody building in the background, which past that in a second. Let's stop here and let's look what we have. There's the little sign here, and some people have been saying it's like home. That's what you're reading on the sign, and it could be. I'm assuming that Hello Games might actually work again with avoiding the use of actual words and letters. They really have been avoiding that in No Man's Sky as well, where people could not put like letters on their builds, assuming this might be the same trick. There's another weird thing here in the corner, which is like this green glowing thing. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I'm also wondering if people base build, how is this going to be controlled? Because are we going to have like a base computer? For example, if I drop this little pole down with the sign, is that my base computer? Is this how I claim an area around me and then build? Now, these houses are pretty close to each other. That means that this might not have the same like 300U radius as we have with base computers. Or is this going to be like a community location? So somebody says, yo, I'm planting that here and I'm sharing this with my fellow players so everybody can build in the same area, make a village, make a city. But this is definitely very close to each other as in buildings. So I'm assuming we might see a different way how building works, how building is registered and managed. Are bases uploaded? Are we gonna have just villages in instances? I'm not entirely sure. It could be they also work with just like certain regions. You claim a region, that region becomes yours, and then nobody else can build there. I don't know. I have no idea. Now you see in the distance there in the back, if you look at the back house, there's another sign there, the same as the sign here. So maybe the sign might be the base computer as a claiming location. I'm not sure. The house itself looks very simple. I'm a little bit skeptical about the stone being built on top of the wooden structures. So I'm assuming we won't see any structural integrity where it is not possible to build stone on wood. We'll see about that. The animation of building is definitely cool. I like that. This here looks like a kiln. Maybe they use this to smelt stuff. It might be a fire pit to cook, but it looks more like a kiln to make like coal, or maybe a little forge where you can smelt your ores and stuff like that. One thing I noticed here, if you look at the stone, this wall is not properly set on the other one. I had a little bit of an OCD problem there. I saw that, I was like, hey, that's not nice. In the distance, we see the second house now. On there, you can see there's another sign right in front of the house. So I'm assuming this might be the base marker. All right, here we have another shot with the boat. And as I said, you can see the boat there. It has the same fan design. It's like a sun on top. That made me think about the boat being broken down and actually sinking. So it feels like this is going to be another way of transportation, sailing. And also, if you look at the description on the Steam page and the website, they are talking about setting sail across oceans and rivers. Once again, we see another character here that seems to be human. They do have a bow and a backpack on them. I really like the style of the backpacks here. I wonder if there's going to be a lot of character customization, how you can change the face, or if there's going to be just a set of faces. We'll see when we see more teasers and trailers. Now, the boats itself look very similar. I don't think we see like a difference between one boat and the other. I'm not sure how much customization will be going on there. The dragon we see here is another dragon that we saw before. You can see it has a different tail. I'm assuming it's going to be a very similar to like the ship we have in No Man's Sky, and the different designs will be a different tail, different wings, different colors of the wings. All right, let's move on to the next scene. Here we see another scene where we're actually doing some hunting. I think this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players for the moment I'm seeing here hunting together. I'm not entirely sure. They look like either boars or something like it. Also noticed the river, and it does seem to be like a flowing river. I'm wondering how they're going to be doing that and how it's going to be working. If we're going to be able to control water, I don't think so. So anyway, 5 hunters where some people are corralling them into like a ambush where the hunters are just shooting them with arrows. I do like the scene here, by the way. The grass, the flowers, the different kinds of grass, everything moving into the mountains. This is really nice. Then we have the next one here, which is the battle scene. Now here you will notice that we have the first character in the middle here. You can see it has a flaming sword. So that's definitely elemental. Like I said, we saw the staff in the beginning. So there's definitely going to be magic going on. I think this might be like a beach scene here. We have some crabs attacking from the sides. And then we have this massive crab in the middle there. So there's definitely going to be some serious combat going on as well. All right, next scene. So here we see 1 dragon, 2 dragons, and then the blackbird in the distance there. The animation jumping on the dragon is definitely very similar to No Man's Sky. You will see that it's very similar as in Takeoff as well. That's another little thing I noticed here. Once he jumps on the dragon, you will notice that the HUD disappears and we only have the bow and arrow. It looks like we're going to have aerial combat as well, so it's going to be possible to use your bow and arrow on your dragon, or on whatever you use to fly, of course. Once he jumps on the dragon here, just take a note of the river here. It doesn't look like this is flowing. I'm not sure if you noticed that. This is not like coming from another spot. It doesn't look like it. And I didn't see the same when we were in the hunting scene. The hunting scene was pretty short, but I don't think we saw moving water. Alright, here we go. Now we're going to fly over the water. Look at the depth that the water has here. Very nice. Again, we have some rafts there, so that's definitely a different kind of boat. We have some ruins in the water there. On the left, we have a little house on that island. So we have some more houses on the right. A lot of rafts and sails. I'm assuming people might be fishing. Who knows? And then here we're going to come to the point where I talked about the tower. You will see the tower is there on top. That's the tower we saw. Now, one thing I want to show you, if you look at the tower, it is a bit weirdly spawned. You see, it's like not really merged on the ground. I'm assuming that is another little DNA from No Man's Sky, is that assets don't really spawn always on the right spot. This looks a little bit weird. It's like it's just on the tip. So this probably needs some work to get the assets to merge and the terrain a little bit better. And of course we have the floating city. I'm not sure if this is something we can build ourselves or just these are going to be like discoverable and visitable. Weirdly enough, why did the HUD pop up suddenly while he's flying here? What's that? Why is this showing up here while that should only show up here? You see the HUD popping up here? That's something weird. This is not the HUD for this dragon. This is the HUD for this scene. Why is that? Because this is definitely night. It's hot, it's night, but why did that HUD pop up here? It's almost like the HUD has been overlaid afterwards. I think the HUD itself might be overlaid afterwards because they are still working on it. So yeah, we have these characters here. This looks like a cat there in the distance on the fire warming its hands. This might also be a cat or a wolf. That does seem to have a snout. You see the snout here on the front. So this is definitely a wolf face. I think this is the only scene where I've seen a character holding a torch and it is night. And I'm wondering how much this actually has to do with the title of the game, Light No Fire. I really have been curious on like, why is this game named Light No Fire? Now, this scene is very important and I will talk about it in a second, but I'm really wondering if the fire kind of attracts enemies, attracts the darkness. I'm not entirely sure. I'm trying to figure this out still, and I'm sure we will be getting updates about what the title means. And what I noticed here, if you look a little bit further, they only show up, you see in this scene, you just look at the center here, and you will see there's going to be some eyes popping up. It's just eyes with like a shadow around it. And I think they are actually triggered by the guy walking with the torch. It's like they're popping up because the guy with the torch is coming nearby. The title of the game almost feels like a warning. Do not light fire. It's a weird warning because why would you not light fire? No fire should be a good thing. You get your light, you can see where you're going, you get heat. So it feels like the fire might be what is attracting enemies or whatever entity that they don't want to awaken. And then we have this statue in the back there, which is very curious and very interesting. It has the same design, if you have noticed that, as the knowledge stones in No Man's Sky. I am definitely very intrigued with the face coming up and looking. It looks almost like an entry to a dungeon. And then, of course, here we have again a whole bunch. This looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Somebody in a dragon is 7. So there seems to be like 7 people in this instance here. Some of the assets you see as well in the background there, for example, that tree is definitely something that is very similar to what we saw in No Man's Sky. Now in this scene, we have once again a group of 4 people. So you see there's 4 people in this group here. I have a feeling we might see fire teams of 4 people, and it's possible to have more than 4 people playing together. This was a very intriguing shot as well. First of all, a whole bunch of rabbits in the background there, which are bowing down. Then our group seems to be one rabbit. In the back here, this looks like a beaver or an otter, the one here closest to the screen. Then we seem to have like a badger there, I would say, the one with the white stripe on his face, and then a human with the bow. Another thing I noticed as well is the shields of the rabbits seems to have the same look as the ones on the wall there. But it could be that it's linked to each other, you know, the rabbits do have like a king or whatever. Now, a weird thing that I noticed here was this, I would say like almost a giant or an ogre. So I'm wondering how this character fits into the kingdom of the rabbits. The legs are very weird. It's almost like they are like tree trunks. It almost feels like a boss zone you're stepping into. Anyway, let's move on. We have another dragon. This looks like a golden one. And then we're going to zoom into that structure in the distance. This feels like this is going to be of importance. We also, have you noticed that it all has the same pattern? We saw the tower in the beginning. You remember when we saw the little tower in the beginning? Compared with that, you see the relief on that sphere. It has the same relief as we saw. And then finally, we end off this trailer with this curious scene. It almost feels like a volcanic eruption where the stone is breaking off. It almost feels like a different reality in here that then zooms out and connects to a red orb holed into this shape that we cannot ignore the fact that this looks like an atlas. It has a red orb resting into that pyramidic cradle. This has Atlas written all over it. And it wouldn't surprise me that this might be a different simulation created by the Atlas. And of course, then we have a title, Light No Fire. And that's the end of the trailer. I have seen a lot of stuff, and I'm sure that a lot of people still have a lot of questions as well. Same with me, as this is very, very basic as in a trailer, giving us almost no information. We're just gonna have to wait until Hello Games drops another trailer, drops an update, gives us more information. Who knows? We'll have to see. For the rest, we don't know much more. You can check out the website. You can also check out the Steam page description. You can see there that it's actually talking about this is a multiplayer game and a single player game. So you're not stuck with just playing with friends. You can do it alone. If you check the website and also the Steam page, we see there is no release date. There is no information about the platform they're going to drop it on. So I highly doubt we're going to see Light No Fire drop in 2024. I'm assuming we're going to see this next year in 2025, maybe even at the end of it. But that's it. I think I covered most of the trailer I could see so far. If you spotted anything that I might have missed or just glanced over, you can always let us know in the comments what you think about it. And for the rest, we just have to wait for Sean Murray or Hello Games to give us more information about Light No Fire. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, press that thumbs up. I really appreciate that, and I will see you again next time. Beeblebum out.